Jai Hind viewers, it's my honor today to host Lieutenant Colonel NP Patankar on the Candid conversation on the global strategic and defense news to discuss the Indian peacekeeping force operations in Sri Lanka. Col Patankar is a veteran of the IPKF operations and has also served in the elite Rashtra Rifles. Colonel Patankar, sir, welcome to the Candid conversation.
Thank you so much.
So my first question to you is that can you please describe the sequence of the move to Sri Lanka?
Yes, why not? Actually, before starting that, I'll just take about a second to tell about this Indo-Sri Lanka Accord. It was signed between Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi and President of Sri Lanka, Sri Jayawardene, on 29 July 1987 at 7:30 p.m. in the night. Our aims were to enforce disarmament of LTTE, regain command and control of Jaffna Peninsula, and subsequently hand over to Sri Lanka. Whereas Sri Lanka's aim were they had agreed more power and autonomy to northern and eastern provinces of Sri Lanka. They agreed to withdraw the Sri Lankan army and return to their barracks. But they also wanted simultaneously these Tamil tigers, they should surrender their arms. But unfortunately, we were doing, they had made this Indo-Sri Lanka Accord, but Tamil rebel groups, they were never called when this drafting of Sri Lanka Accord was made. Coming to the question of sequence of move to Sri Lanka, my unit was stationed in Madras itself. On 29 July 1987, Indo-Sri Lanka Accord was signed at 7:30 p.m. Same night, 11:30 p.m., we sailed off from Madras Harbour to our destination, which was Kankesanthurai in Sri Lanka. 30 July 1987 at approximately 9 a.m., we entered Sri Lankan waters. And clearance to disembark we received at around 3 p.m. It was given by Sri Lankan government. The troops there were welcomed by Brigadier J.K. Rallis. He was Commander 91 Amphibious Brigade. From there, from Kankesanthurai Jetty, we started on foot to Kankesanthurai village, which was our first foothold in Sri Lanka. We occupied vacant houses, and en route we saw lot of dead bodies lying around. Locals of all age groups, they stood outside their houses with white flags in their hands. During route march, it was very much obvious to us. The full area was covered with thick vegetation. Restricted visibility even during day was there. And that time we thought that this will definitely help the enemy. On 1st of August 1987, CO along with his staff officers went to negotiate with Tamil Tigers hierarchy. But the talks did not materialize. About a week later, the unit advanced to Pandathiruppu, approximately 14 kilometers from Kankesanthurai to on Jaffna axis. At around 5 o'clock in the evening, we reached our unit location, which was Pandathiruppu Girls High School. It was completely open area amidst the jungles, and the unit had all-round defense. The unit was to remain here for quite some time. And during our stay here, no amount of civil-military liaison worked out. The unit also suffered a lot of casualties here. Timeline was passing from August to September with no appreciable gains. This was the sequence of move from Kankesan-Thurai to Pandatirpur.
Well, sir, that was quite informative and pretty well explained in detail. So my next question too is that till the hostilities commenced with the LTTE, what was your daily routine in Sri Lanka?
See, the daily routine was absolutely similar to the any normal routine which we have in our any defended locality. Time to at nominated timings were observed. Building up of defenses plus resources were thought of. Rest and recoup of balance of troops, maintenance of weapons and operational related equipment and stores, then making up of deficiency if any was resorted to at very high speed. Rigorous training on weapon handling was enhanced. We carried out extensive repairs, even if minor, of all op-related equipment and stores, gearing up of medical facilities, patrolling of surrounding areas, familiarization of surrounding areas during day and during night. The same thing which looked during the day, it would look differently during night. So it was very important for us to familiarize during night also. Building up of logistics echelons, collection of information from Sri Lankan army locals, making of temporary maps of areas which we patrolled or which we were familiarizing with. One striking thing which was out here was that weapons were getting badly affected due to salty moisture. It literally needed extra maintenance, and going out of the unit area was something which was dreaded. Use of vehicles was bare minimum, only to bring heavy loads or transportation of troops, and that too in unavoidable circumstances. Encountering IEDs was always on the cards.
Well, sir, thank you so much. My next question to you is that once the hostilities with the LTT commenced, how tough was the situation?
Our stay in Pandatirpur was just passing from August to September without any appreciable achievements between IPKF and Tamil Tigers. Tamil Tigers, they were refusing to surrender. IPKF, they got engaged in police action against Tiger. Three important timelines which I'll be telling in just about 5 to 10 seconds. 7th October 1987, seeing no go ahead, the Chief of the Army Staff, he issued directives which were as under. He told paralyze LTTE in terms of radio stations, TV towers, press media, their camps, cache and strong points, and consolidate hold on Jaffna. Thus, our unit got prepared for advance to Jaffna. 9th October 1987. 9th October 1987 was the turning point in the IPKF operation. This time first IPKF operation was launched against LTT, hence code name with Op Pawan. And the aim was to neutralize LTTE or operational capability in and around Jaffna and capture / neutralize LTT chain of command. Night of 9th 10th October 97 saw a big change. IPKF raided and captured LTT radio station at a place called as Tabadi, TV station at a place called as Kokuville, and 2 printing presses of LTT newspaper. Herein 200 rebels were captured, but LTT also retaliated. They ambushed our CRPF convoy at Tellipalai, IPKF post at Tellipalai, and they killed all 5 Jawans who were traveling in a Jeep X10 Para. And 12th October 1987 is very famous for heliborne assault on Jaffna University, which was the headquarters of LTT. The troops in the heliborne assault operation which were committed were para commandos and Sikh light troops. Overall, if we see this operation, this ended in a disaster because LTT had intercepted our IPKF radio transmissions. They had already set up an ambush. Our heli-borne troops were under intense fire. Subsequently, when this operation was completely progressed, rebels were cornered in Jaffna. They were disarmed and we took Jaffna by force. My unit established firm foothold in Jaffna, which was only approximately 15 kilometers from Kankesanthurai. And the situation had become tough for the following reason. We were handicapped on account of there was no recce/familiarization of area, no rehearsals were carried out, no local support at all, non-availability of accurate updated maps, actionable int, real-time and reliable info, good communication equipment. Our moves were always beaten by LTT. They intercepted our radio transmissions. They had a chain of dedicated informers. They informed them well in advance and used code signs for our troop movements like temple bells, hootings, cycle informers, deserted roads, which gave an indication of an ambush being set in. And we could not separate friend from enemy. This is how tough the life became.
Well, sir, I can pretty well understand the situation you would have been in. So my next question to you is that in your entire stay in Sri Lanka during these IPKF operations, would you like to narrate one incident which is pretty close to your heart and which till date is as fresh as it was that day?
Absolutely, absolutely. During the stay in IPKF, many incidents are there. Can share a few of them here. I'll tell you the most striking example. In war, always remember whatever is taught to us in the academy or the training centers is gospel truth. One can never ever override it or deviate from it. It is always, for example, it is always taught to us that during night, no lighting of fire is allowed. One very reputed JC of my unit, maybe he was duty JC for the day, was on his rounds. He came to a picket and saw that the sentries were alert. Satisfied himself, he muffled himself in the blanket and lit a cigarette, hid in the palms, raised it to his lips, took a drag. Taking of drag and piercing of rocket from RPG-7V in his chest, everything happened in split second. The second incident was a quartermaster had gone to collect fresh rations to the supply point. On his way, he was caught, his arms were tied behind, a tire was thrown in around his neck and was lit alive. I will definitely mention here about Second Lieutenant Sanjay Dogra. He passed out from IMA as Academy Under Officer, but he was martyred there. Second Lieutenant Ajay Khatri, he also joined immediately after passing out. He also had narrow escape from close quarters of death. There are many incidents.
Well, so I can pretty well, relate to what you're saying. So my next question to you is that what went wrong with the IPKF operations in Sri Lanka?
Nothing went wrong with IPKF operations. Lot of books have been written on it and lot of research has been done on it. But each boils down to only one thing, and that was it was political failure that led to IPKF debacle. The Indo-Sri Lanka Accord was signed despite opposition from Sri Lankan Prime Minister, the Security Minister, opposition leader Mrs. Sri Mavo Bandarke. It was very sketchy accord based on weak foundation. Despite all this, IPKF was inducted. A copy of draft accord was not shared with the army. It was shared at the nick of the moment. IPKF was sent hurriedly on insistence of Sri Lankan president. Mind it, my unit, we never knew that we were going to Kankesan Thurai. All the time we were just told that we are going to Trincomalee. And when the unit got ready for mobilization, it was during that time we were told that boys, we are going to Kankesan Thurai. There was no proper briefing, no position paper, no recce, familiarization, rehearsals carried out. No specific role was given to IPKF. No tasks allotted to IPKF, what we were supposed to do. No maps, adequate equipment, strong logistic support was not there. We didn't have interpreters, no actionable int, no real-time and reliable info, lack of inter-service cooperation. IPKF was just told only to implement the record. The accord had laid down false aims, which were cessation of hostilities within 48 hours, surrender of arms by Tamil rebels in 72 hours, and hold provincial elections in Sri Lanka within 3 months. This was overconfidence of higher ups, the poor coordination between the center and Tamil Nadu government. We literally got engaged in police action. Our role was changed from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. Very sad to say that we faced a lot of human rights violation cases in Sri Lanka. It was just because we could never identify who was our friend, who is our enemy. After elections, President Rana Singha Premdasa got elected. He was the first one to immediately oppose the accord, and he demanded withdrawal of IPKF by 29th of July 1989.
So my last question to you is that do you feel that the IPKF operation should be taught in the various schools of instruction in the Indian Army?
Absolutely. Having participated in this war, this period I can never forget. Why shy out? Why have we any apprehensions about this? Should it or should it not be taught in our schools of instruction? Our troops did exceedingly well in any of the IPKF operations. We never got defeated in any of the operation leveled at LTT. Mind it, defeat is a very strong and obnoxious word as far as Indian Army is concerned. It has got splendid, glorious history of winning such and of each and every battle. Whenever an Indian soldier fights, he always has one thing in his mind, and that is Nam, Namak, and Nishan. Come what may, he always fights to his last. What will a soldier do if he is not provided with clear orders? What is his specific task? No real-time and reliable info, no availability of PNVDs and HHTIs, no adequate equipment, no strong logistic support, language barrier, local support, nil local support, no knowledge of terrain, unable to differentiate between friend and enemy, no recce of the area of operation. The Indian Army was never defeated. It was political failure that led to IPKF debacle. Basically, political decision failure. No time for preparation for war. No rehearsals carried out. Hurried political decision. Same was shared with Army at a very later stage. All the above should be taught as lessons learned from this IPKF operation. Lastly, I would like to say, recognize the IPKF soldiers, honor them, and glorify their deeds. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Well, thank you so much, sir. It was very educative and engrossing listening to you. And every word you spoke, made me move from within. And my salute and respect to you for the great service that you have done to India and the phenomenal service that you have rendered in the Indian Army. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the Global Strategic and Defense News.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be with you, and you have carved a niche in the domain of strategic analysis and geopolitics within a very short span. All kudos and congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.